Thank you, Gitanjali ma'am. Okay.
Thank you.
So the first question is, rote learning, coaching culture, race for marks, how to free education from these evils?
So all of this happens when there is an ecosystem of a job. When kids are being trained to do a job. So we have to move away from this job mentality to a entrepreneur mentality. And by entrepreneur, I don't mean people who are who want to just are greedy to make money. No, enterprise is how can I solve a problem of my context, and therefore how can I monetize it. So if every student is trained to do that, then one is not looking at a degree, a certificate, and therefore rote learning and all completely loses their relevance, because it is what you have, your skills, that will finally help you.
So the second question is, does responsibility bring sustainability in the growth of a citizen?
I think sustainability is basically respect for, it is growing out of an egocentric way of living and having respect with nature and understanding that there is an interconnectedness. And that was very much a part of our culture. Throughout the Vedas and Upanishads, it is Yat Pinde Tat Brahmande. A microcosm was a part of the macrocosm. I cannot live without the trees providing me oxygen. So it is as basic as that. My very breathing is dependent on the trees. So this understanding, if it comes, then responsibility, sustainability, everything comes. That cutting off from our roots and being cut off from this understanding of interconnectedness is the whole issue which we have to deal with here.
The third question is, within the confines of an urban setup, how can we bring the students closer to natural living?
So I can give you my example. Like I was in Chennai before I moved to Ladakh, and I have a son. So Chennai is as urban as it can get. So every year we used to go for a trek in the Himalayas and live in tents and completely in nature. See the young kids who have the bags and they walk for kilometers to reach their school. So everything true learning can only happen when it is experiential. So as much as we can expose the students to real life, because every urban setup in India, you go 20 kilometers, there is a village. So please take the kids there, and let them live there. And let us not do too much of spoon feeding to the kids. At 18, a child is an adult. And in olden India, when it was this apprenticeship model, the child was ready. If he was a potter's child, he was ready to make potters and contribute. If he was an agriculturist, he was ready at 18 because he had begun apprenticeship at the age of 6 or 7. So today we are kind of spoon feeding the kids. Still they are 25, 30, they can't, especially boys, they don't know much of life skills. So my mother used to tell me when I was a kid that girls have to be brought up like boys. So one should learn driving and, being out there, earning one's livelihood. And today I say that my son, that he has to be brought up like a girl today. They have to learn how to make their beds, how to, learn all the life skills, cooking and everything. So we have to take them to, Varela talks about micro worlds. We have to create micro worlds where they're out of their comfort zones and develop their life skills. And we can surely do that, because any urban center you take, you drive 30 kilometers, you have a village in India. So, and nature. And I'm telling you, this is something experienced, that in air-conditioned classrooms, a child cannot understand how his lifestyle is impacting the fish in the river. So they have to be taken out there to see what this whole thing is doing to the environment, how there is interconnectedness. And as parents and teachers, we don't have to teach them actually. We just have to expose them, take them to the right ecosystems. They learn by themselves. They are more observant. We just need to be less protective about them. Do less spoon feeding. Let them go out there and explore.
I agree totally with you, ma'am. Most of the parents are so much spoon feeding. I think if they leave that and they expose their children, they can be with the nature. Anyway, the fourth question is, how can we effectively cater to the needs of different types of learners in the same classroom?
So a lot of work has been done in this area, the whole differentiated learning concepts. But it is always practical thing is to for teachers to understand them and divide them into smaller groups. And a lot of peer learning can help here. Like there are students who are more let us say clever in a particular subject than they are in the others. So groups of children who are and a lot of peer learning. Also giving here, that is where in India it can happen when the teachers have more time to be creative. So first of all, in CBSE and schools, teachers should not have more than 60% of their day in classrooms. They should be preparing lessons or doing things, but unfortunately it doesn't happen. Some of them have all 8 hours of teaching, but within that differentiated learning, it's too less a time to share, but there are a lot of examples. But the first thing is for the teacher to be aware that not every child learns in the same way, and to respect actually the different learning styles. That's the beginning point. And some of them learn to do things if they work on it. Some of them listen and do. Some of them visualize. So we have to be, teachers have to know the students and design pedagogies around that.
Yeah. There can't be a set pedagogy, the creative pedagogy has to be followed by the teachers. Mm-hmm. The last question is, how do we have a balance of curriculum and honing individual talent?
Yeah, so as I said, curriculum is one part of the story. The other important thing is the pedagogy, the teaching learning methodology. So within that curriculum, one can have very interesting pedagogies. Like for instance, when in our university, we ask students to submit projects. It is not only a written report. Some of them can take these pictures and write about it. Some can make videos. They find it very interesting. So I think it all starts with the teachers, basically. In our country, ideally it should be a decentralized curriculum, but somehow today we have a centralized curriculum. And we are of the opinion that curriculum should not be content, it has to be frameworks. And the individual teachers have to fill in that framework with their context, the content from their context. And then this question is very similar to the earlier question, that when we learn, we understand what a child is interested in and what he is good at, then we can design his work around his talent. These are all very big questions. It's too less a time to actually.
Anyway, thank you very much for your very good answers for these questions. I think people would have been satisfied with this. And